you so much. So I did write something down just in case I froze at this moment. Thank you to each and every one of you for joining me on this special day for Mental Health Awareness Week to celebrate what is working for our mental health. It's been a huge 2 years for all of us. Life has not been easy, and to come together as a community today is quite remarkable. For those of you who don't know me, I am a mother of 3 gorgeous children, a teacher, mindfulness mentor, and now author of It's Okay to Cry, the gentle way to dissolving depression. Firstly, I want to thank my Bendigo book launch team for helping me put this beautifully seamless afternoon together. The Kinder Mums, Lozzie and Lizzie for catering, Tan for her music, Shan and Hannah at the front of house, Cherie at the book table, Gina for helping to build our interoceptive muscles, Matt for offering his own incredible story and wealth of wisdom on trauma, Deb for piecing this afternoon together, and everyone else behind the scenes for adding your magic. Thank you to the special people in my life, especially Lee for supporting me right through this journey that I've coined It's Okay to Cry. While this is a celebratory day, should hearing my story raise any concerns for you, I invite you to please seek advice from a mental health professional or call Lifeline on 131114. I lived with depression from the age of 14 for 22 years. Even though I did all the right things like going to therapy and taking medication, it wasn't until I stumbled across a science-backed, body-based approach to improve mental health that my depression dissolved. Today, our mental health rates aren't anything to rave about. In 2019, before the string of pandemic-related lockdowns, 3,318 people in Australia suicided. And currently 1 in 5 Australians aged 16 to 85 experience a mental illness in any year. Let's now take a moment to hold love in our hearts for our friends here today who are grieving the loss of their loved ones. Let's extend our heartfelt appreciation for those who are caring or have cared for loved ones with depression and anxiety. I see you trying everything to help in a seemingly helpless situation. And last but not least, let's hear it for those of you who are heroically living with mental illness every day. You are warriors. For me, throughout the 22 years of living with mental illness, sometimes it was manageable and other times it wasn't. In 2006, at age 23, one of my deepest, darkest moments of depression had me sitting in my room in my mess. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, I was spent. I sat on my crumpled bed surrounded by rubbish, clothes strewn everywhere, chocolate wrappers and empty Twisties packets had decorated my room. Positioned next to me was a jammed full washing basket. I'd barely been holding myself together for work. I certainly wasn't socialising, and tending to my basic personal needs was difficult. Putting a load of washing on was my mission of the moment. It felt like a marathon. Picking up the load of washing, walking it down the stairs, putting the clothes in the machine, bending down to add the powder, pressing the buttons, walking back up to my room. It was an enormous task. Alongside that mission was running commentary in my head about how ridiculous this was, that I was having so much trouble doing something so simple, something that people just do without thinking about it. In my mind, I imagined the looks from my friends and family if they saw me struggling to put on a load of washing. What a loser, I heard in my head. Avoiding the task altogether seemed so much more pleasing. I could just lay in bed instead, except I had no clean clothes for work. I had pep talked myself to put the load on. Come on, Bronte, you can do this. Pick up the basket and put one foot in front of the other. Memories of Mum revved me up to keep going. Step by step, I put on that load. And when I reached the top of the stairs and returned to my bedroom chaos, I fell onto the bed exhausted. After all, I had just run a marathon. My depression felt like a big black shadow lurking in the background that would start to creep over my shoulder and haunt me. It was present enough for me to know it was always there. On more difficult days, it would linger and threaten to stay. I was terrified this feeling would return and stay longer each time. My worst nightmare was that it would wrap its black fingers around me, pull me into its eternal darkness and have me disappear forever. I saw my GPs with mental plans, antidepressants, and saw a long list of psychologists and counsellors. My psychologist showed me how to reframe my thoughts with CBT, or cognitive behaviour therapy, and helped me get clarity and resolve my past. On my own accord, I practiced basic mindfulness, breathing techniques and meditation from as young as 16. Throughout my 20s, I journaled, put many negative beliefs into positives, repeated affirmations, and used Reiki and other spiritual rituals to ease my pain. While all of these gave me momentary relief, none of it took my depression away. After believing I would stay on antidepressants for the rest of my life, 2 years ago, everything changed. In March 2019, I was introduced to the Killer Bee Inquiries, which is a set of advanced mindfulness techniques that helps you unhook from your negative sense of self, process your pain from the past, and improve your mental health. When I began working one-on-one with a Killer Bee Inquiries facilitator, it was the first time I was shown how to feel safe with the debilitating feelings in my body that came with my depression. It was the first time that I learned how to feel safe with the horrendous stories in my mind that I believed to be true about myself. And it was the first time I learned how to feel safe with painful memories. The next 6 months saw me applying these techniques to my daily triggers, negative stories and flashbacks from the past, and my mental health gradually improved. While monitored by my doctor, I stopped taking antidepressants and relied on the techniques and my own inner resources instead. Within months, I no longer had depression. Looking back on my 20-year bout of depression, I was dumbfounded that in all my treatment, no one had shown me how to feel my feelings. I realised there was one pivotal piece that had been missing in my mental health treatment, learning how to safely feel my feelings. If you've dismissed the value of your emotions, you're in good company. When others told me to connect with my feelings, I scoffed and thought, it's not my emotions that are the problem, it's my mind. I just need to stop these negative thoughts. I completely ignored the inherent mind-body link and thought my emotions were a waste of time. When my mum passed away in 2008, I told myself, what's the point in being sad? It only makes you feel worse. So I would distract myself from the grief and put my attention elsewhere. This helped me cope at the time, but kept me stuck in depression. I also thought if I felt my feelings, I would die. The sheer thought of going towards what felt like insurmountable pain from the past had me rooted in terror, so I escaped daily. Even if I wanted to, I didn't know how to begin the process. Even if I wanted to, I didn't know how to begin to process my pain. I had a sense it was buried deep down, and while talking to professionals took the edge off, the bulk of my pain stayed lodged inside, like what Matt was talking about. Unknowingly, I was dissociated from my body, which kept me looping in the mental noise. All that time I had depression and I didn't improve. I thought there was something wrong with me. It turned out I had just been missing some simple yet vital tools to manage the inevitable challenges of being human. If you have depression or anxiety, I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, and you certainly don't need fixing. I wrote this book for everyone who has depression or anxiety and feel like they are the problem because they're not getting better. Perhaps a body-based approach to mental health is your missing piece too. It's Okay to Cry is a memoir and guidebook where I interweave my real, relatable and raw story with the full set of techniques I use to dissolve my depression. I've included straightforward, practical steps with QR codes in the book, if you're not sick of QR codes, for you to watch my video demonstrations and listen to my audio guides. It's a love letter to show you the practical steps you can take to make life better. While I can't squeeze all of the magic in my speech, I will share with you one key concept that helped me stop spiralling into overwhelm. Every problem you have in your life can be narrowed down to three things: words, pictures, and body sensations. The words are the stories, thoughts, and dialogue you hear in your head. The pictures are mental imagery. They could be memories of the past, potential projections of what might happen in the future, or even a made-up scenario of what might be happening right now. You might see these pictures through your mind. The body sensations are the sensations you can feel, like what Gina was taking you through, such as heat in your face, tingling in your arms, a pressure in your chest, a tightening of the belly, or pain in the head or neck. When the words and the pictures present simultaneously with body sensations, that the thoughts are stuck to the emotion, our sense of this problem is strong. Our thoughts and emotions are fused together. We're stuck in the story. It feels real. It feels like it's really happening right now, and it can be overwhelming. Take one issue that you have in your life right now. See if you can identify the three parts to this problem. Think of a problem or issue you have in your life. What are the words you hear in your mind? The stories, the thoughts that come to mind when you think of this problem. What pictures pop up in your mind? What do you see when you think of this problem? Perhaps they're pictures of particular people or an event that has happened, or a scenario that could happen. And lastly, when you think of this problem, what subtle or not so subtle sensations can you feel in your body? If you have discomfort in your body, you're likely to be like I was, quickly darting your attention elsewhere so as not to exacerbate the feeling. The more I thought about the feeling, the worse it felt. But learning the Killer Bee inquiries gave me tools to feel safe feeling my feelings. I learnt to say thank you for arising to the lump in my throat. I learnt how to give the heaviness in my heart more space so it could get bigger and then naturally dissipate. When I used the tools, the feelings I once considered painful would miraculously transform into the most pleasurable, joyful and freeing feelings. My pain ended up being my medicine. After running from these horrible lurking dark energies in my body, they were the gift I was always wanting. After trying to stay positive and stop being negative, the so-called negative felt safe, then beautiful. If I was shown these techniques when I was 14, my life would have looked very different. As my depression dissolved, I knew I had to share the Killer Bee inquiries. I studied to become a certified Killer Bee inquiries facilitator, so I could show others the very techniques that transformed my mental health and my life. I now have the privilege to witness others heal when they learn to feel safe to feel. And I have a burning passion to bring these techniques to our children so they don't have to be stuck in mental illness for as long as so many of us have. As a primary school teacher, I was never taught how to teach my students how to feel their feelings. We focused on helping our students name their feelings, but didn't show them how to feel those feelings in their bodies. My dream is that interoception is included in our mental health system, educational system, and in our way of life. I want to see a body-based approach available to anyone with depression or anxiety, in case it's what they've been needing all along. I'm advocating all mental health professionals to be trained in a body-based approach such as the Killer Bee inquiries, embodied processing or somatic counselling to support those of us who don't respond fully to talk therapy. I want our children to learn from an early age how to go beyond emotional literacy and develop the capacity to be compassionate with their rising emotions, negative thoughts, and difficult memories without being consumed by them. I wrote It's Okay to Cry to help spread my message. If you want to see if a body-based approach is the answer for you, I work one-on-one with clients locally and online to help you unhook from the negative stories and feel free in who you are. I also offer mindfulness classes at Malama Lounge in Kennington on Tuesday mornings. If you work at a school and want to know how to teach your students how to feel their feelings, firstly, I have a free ebook for you at brontespicer.com. Secondly, I offer the Reinventing Resilience in the Classroom for school staff. This is a trauma-informed workshop with up-to-date neuroscience and practical strategies you can implement in the classroom to lift your students' capacity to be resilient in their learning and in life. Finally, I offer workplace wellbeing for teaching teams to regain a sense of control after what has been a difficult time, with vital tools to help manage everyday triggers and reduce stress at school. If you're a mental health professional and curious about incorporating a body-based approach into your practice, feel free to reach out to Matt Nettleton or I for more information. And if you're a parent and want more of this information in your child's school, the Thriving Kids Parent Workshop gives you tips on how best to support your child who might be struggling with their mental health. Everything can be found at brontespicer.com. Finally, thank you so much for joining me. It's quite surreal to be at my own book launch. One of my favourite moments of today was watching everyone practicing yoga together. It was a real gift to see. I hope you can walk away knowing a little more about the value of a body-based approach to mental health and how it could be the answer for so many more. With your attendance, we have raised 2 healthy contributions for the exquisite Great Stupa and Bendigo's youth mental health service, Headspace. Enjoy reading my book, and remember, it's okay to cry.